Toxic best friend story time. So I had this best friend in my freshman year of high school, and she would literally force me to hang out with her and her boyfriend. I hated having to hang out with them all the time, and I never wanted to, but when I would try to tell her no, she would come to my house and tell my mom that we were going somewhere, and then I really didn't have a choice because she was already at my house. And she didn't really want me talking to her boyfriend for whatever reason, and I had my own boyfriend, so I didn't have a reason to want to talk to him. But he added me on Snapchat one day, and she went through his phone and found out and tried blaming it on me. So then she takes my phone and tries going through it because she thinks that he deleted some of the messages. And she goes on my phone, and she blocks everybody that I have ever, talked to. All my friends, all her exes, all my boyfriends and exes, everybody. She blocked everybody.
This is the story of my 9th birthday party. So I had this friend named Natalie, and I'm going to do a little background check on her. She was very, very, very bossy. Whenever she wanted water, she would tell me to go get her water, to go get her whatever. So I didn't really like that, and I just had to go through that for 2 years. Then I obviously invited her to my birthday party because she was my family friend, and I didn't want my parents to know that I didn't like her. The whole time she was bossing me around, telling me to do this, telling me to do that. And it was at a huge playground, and whenever I'd want to go on a slide, she would tell me not to, and it was for babies and whatever. So I felt really left out and sad. And I didn't really enjoy my birthday party like I was supposed to, so I did something. The next time we were going out, we were going to a pool. And I promised myself if she bossed me around, I would tell my mom and her mom. Come back for part 2 and like this video. This is part 2. So we went swimming, and we went to this water park, and there was a really, really big slide, and I didn't want to go on it, but she wanted to go on it, so we climbed up, and she pushed me down. So I was obviously terrified, and when I came out, I was like, okay, this is bad, but let me just wait. So there was food that you could get for free, and she kept telling me to go over there and get food for her, and she went on water slides while I had to go and get food for her. So I was like, that's enough. And I told her mom, and I told my mom as well, and they were like, oh, I'm so sorry, you should have told us, and we would have stopped it. So they called Natalie over, and they told her what she did wrong, and the whole time she was just staring at me, and they sent us back. She started screaming at me and told me, why did you tell our moms? So I ran back to my mom and told her what she did, and we haven't seen them since in years.
When I was 15 years old, I found out I was pregnant with twins. My boyfriend at the time was 21 and had nothing to do with me. When he knew I wasn't going to give them up for adoption or abortion, he walked away. My mom was disappointed, but she helped me throughout my entire pregnancy and my delivery. A few weeks before my due date, my boyfriend texted me saying he broke up with this girl and that he wanted to get together and he was going to try to become the best dad he can. After the twins were born, it was blissful for a few moments until my mother started becoming toxic. She would take them places without my knowledge, and I would wake up to an empty house not knowing where my kids were. She started overriding my decisions, and when I confronted her, she told me she knew better because she was an adult, and I was in no position to contradict her. After years of this happening, I finally had enough, and I managed to get enough money to afford a hotel for a couple of nights while I decided what to do. I asked my aunt to watch my kids for a few days so I can go out and find a job. And when I returned to the motel, they were gone. All of them.
This is why you should be wary of the girls rooting for your relationship. So my friendship group at the time made friends with these guys from an all-boys school. We would always hang out together, and it was really fun. Then I started getting a liking for a specific boy. No one in my friendship group had an interest in him, so I took it as the green light. My closest friend told me that she would help me get with him. So she'd speak to him all the time and ask him if he was interested in me. He said he was. He'd always talk to me about how cute we would be and how she can't wait for us to date. Never found any of this dodgy because we were best friends and I thought she had my best interests. Then came a day that I couldn't hang out with them because I was busy. 2 of my friends went and 3 of the guys went. I was scrolling on Snapchat and I saw her sitting on someone's lap. I couldn't tell whose lap it was, but I was hoping it wasn't his. Big shocker, it was. Forgot to say this, but by this time we were dating. When he gets home, he messages me and he tells me he's done something really bad. I kept beating around the bush, but I told him to just say it. He told me that when they hung out, everyone else had gone home and it was just them. He and she. Obviously I was upset, but I was glad he told me the same day it happened. I carried on hanging out with that girl for 2 weeks. Not once did she tell me what happened. In fact, at one time, she brought it up and told me it was a rumor. Part 2 is up. Everyone had told me that it had happened. The one person I didn't hear it from was her, my best friend. It shocked me because I heard it from him first. When she brought it up to me and told me it was a rumor, I was like, yeah, that's funny. Only because I wanted to see how long she could disrespect me for. Me and the guy stopped dating because even though he told me the truth, it's still something I wouldn't want to mess with. The girl kept talking to me and acting like we were best friends. I got really sick of her energy, and I told her I didn't want to be friends with her anymore. It was just crazy because out of everyone, my best friend rooted for the relationship most, and she became the reason it ended. Just remember that not everyone wants the best for you. Some people just want what you have.
I'm gonna tell y'all about the time I was toxic. Story time. So let me throw it back to the time me and my boyfriend started dating. I was crazy in love. Emphasis on the crazy part. Well, anyways, one day we made plans to hang out, and I was supposed to drive to his house after work. So I get off work and I realize that he hasn't messaged me in 5 hours, which isn't something he normally does. So I started freaking out. And not gonna lie, at the time, I had my speculations about a couple girls. So I messaged him, hey, I just got off work. And I waited about 30 minutes and still nothing. So that's when I said, I'ma head out. And I drove to his house. Keep in mind, at the time, he lived an hour away from me. So I drove to his house, and tell me why on the way there, my car breaks down. Like my car was literally smoking. But the good news is I was only like 2 minutes away from his house. So I park at this nearby Starbucks and I start running to his house. The very first thing I did when I got to his house was look through his window. Yes, I told you guys I was crazy. Part 2 is gonna be embarrassing.